Filetto di maiale al forno con cappucci e salsa di ciliegie. Roasted pork loin over cabbage in the oven. It's delicious. Pork and cabbage always goes good. In this case, it's gonna have a little bit of the dried cherry sauce. So let's begin with the loin. Get a nice piece of loin. Leave this flap of fat in there so that there's some moisture left in the loin. Otherwise, the loin can be quite dry. First, let's put some salt over it. All over. Fennel powder. All over. Okay. And put some oil in a nice sturdy pan because we will put it all into the oven. And I'm gonna put the fatty part down. And while that's caramelizing, let's begin with the sauce. A simple dry cherry sauce. So you need an abundant amount of dried cherries, pitted, and you put it in a pan and we'll cook it down to a sauce. We'll put some bay leaves and some thyme in there, some wine, okay, and some stock. A little bit of salt, and you let that simmer and simmer and simmer until the cherries kind of really cook down and the liquid goes to about half of its volume, and then we'll process it and we'll make a nice velvety sauce out of it. So let me smash the garlic. I will just give it a whack. This way it will release its flavor, and I'll be able to fish it out at the end. Now, I know you have a lot of questions. So here's a great question from Kelly Bray from Florida. And she wants to know, if a recipe calls for half a cup of fresh chopped herbs, do you measure before you chop or after? Good question, Kelly. Absolutely a good question. So you have to read the recipe. You know, that's a question of punctuation. If it says 1 cup of chopped parsley, then you know that the parsley is chopped. And if it says 1 cup of parsley, comma, chopped, then you know that you have 1 cup of regular parsley, and then you chop it. So just be careful in reading the recipe that you get the right message. Good question, Kelly. Thank you for asking. Okay, so let me take the pork out, just like that. Let's put in the onion. The cabbage. And deglaze it with some wine. Some water. I'm gonna put some of the cherries right in the cabbage because the cherry will leave some sweetness with the cabbage and it's going to be really good. And the herbs, some bay leaves and some thyme right in there. Let me put some salt and just a little bit of butter to give it some flavor. At this point, when the cabbage kind of sort of is wilted just a little bit, we'll nestle the pork loin right on top of the cabbage. And we will put it in a 375-degree oven, hot oven. You want to put the whole thing in there, and it will take about 30 to 40 minutes. The internal temperature of the pork should be 145 degrees. In the meantime, the sauce will reduce, and we'll be ready to serve. Leave it uncovered in the oven because you want the pork loin to get crispy. Just go and check it now and then and stir it. To host in the Italian style, I get asked that all the time. Well, for me, it's a natural extension of who I am on how we host at home, making people really feel welcome. Of course, cooking the food that you know they love, that's full of taste, that it's meaningful, and then kind of opening your arm and making them feel, yes, this is your home, come in, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy and nourish yourself. So the pork is done, we're gonna let it rest. I am just reducing the sauce. Let me remove all the herbs from here. Just lower that a little bit. And the sauce is as well finished. And I let it cool because we're gonna put it in a blender. But let's remove first the bay leaves from here. Okay. Okay, that should be done. Let's put it back in here. And I'm going to put it back and have it cook some more because I want it to reduce a little bit. I want to add to it some butter and a little bit of good balsamic vinegar just to give it that extra flavor. And you want to bring all of this to a boil and you want to let it cook together. Let's address the meat now. Okay. I want to taste just a little bit the sauce, at which point how flavorful is it? It's really good, but it is missing a little bit of salt. It's nice acidic, it's sweet, really good. And what I'm doing here is I'm drying the cabbage because I want it to be nice and dry because I have my sauce. So I don't want the water from the cabbage to be in there. So slowly I am drying it. And now I'm going to cut the meat. So you want the inner temperature to be 145. If it is 145, you are safe. I can hear that the cabbage is drying. And I'm gonna make a nice bed of cabbage and cherries. And you know, this is a good vegetable. What's good about this is that, you know, cabbage is quite forgiving. You know, you can reheat it and it tastes maybe even better and it retains its luster, if you will. Okay, let me just take, it's hot. Here we go. I'm gonna grab a little bit of cabbage from all over, just like that, okay. And I think this end piece is perfectly fine for me, just like that. So now, let's get and a spatula will do. You go underneath and you just lay it right on top like that. You nestle it on top. It looks beautiful, there's enough moisture here. The sauce, I am waiting for it to give a boil. I am waiting here and it's taking time, and you should do that a lot of time. You know, when you're waiting for something to reduce and then it's not happening, I'm gonna take it and put it right in here. It has all the goodness of the cabbage and all of that. Aha. There you go. You see, because it has more space. You could leave the chunks of cherries in there, or you could strain it just like I'm doing here now. And you put it at the table with the sauce next to it. And this is ready to be enjoyed. But you know, before I do that, I'm just gonna do some sauce right over my own little piece of pork right here. It's delicious. With this cabbage and cherry and the sauce, it is delicious. Delicioso.